What's going on, guys? My name is Omega and welcome back to another Apex Legends video. So in today's video we got a bunch of news to go over. The first thing I want to show you guys is actually some behind the scenes footage of what it looked like to create Fuse, as well as what Kings Canyon looked like years before Apex Legends even came out. I'm also going to show you guys an AMA that some of the Respawn developers did over on Reddit yesterday. We learned a lot of information about the future of Apex, including some big legend changes and also just some overall meta changes that we might be seeing in the next couple of weeks. Before we start that though, just want to let you guys know that I am currently doing a giveaway for 8 1000 Apex coin cards. If you guys want to enter, the link to that will be down in the description below. I will be picking the winners on Monday, February 8th on both my Twitter and my YouTube, so you guys will know the winners of that competition on Monday. Now we're gonna get right into this video. I first want to actually show you guys a tweet that Moy Para made on Twitter. As you guys know, Moy Para is one of the head animators for Respawn. He shared a behind the scenes video of how some of the animations for Fuse were created in someone's garage. Now for those of you guys that don't know, Apex animators use something called mocap, which is the process of recording the movement of objects or people in order to have the most accurate and realistic animations. I think most of this is mainly just used for like player banner frames. They probably do something a little bit different for actual legend animations, like when you're using them in game, but it's still really cool to see some of this stuff behind the scenes. We also learned from Daniel Klein on Reddit that Fuse's ultimate used to just apparently be a giant mortar. Instead of it blowing up in midair and shooting circular fire, it would just fall to the ground and kill everything in its radius. Fuse's tactical apparently used to be he would suck up live grenades in the area, defuse them, and then put them back in his inventory. Like, just imagine Fuse getting stuck by an arc star. He just picks it up, puts it in his pocket, and just continues on with his day. Now, some other really cool behind the scenes stuff that we got to see the other day was we got to see how Titanfall 2 evolved into Apex Legends over time. So apparently the concept for Apex started right after the launch of Titanfall 2, when Respawn developers were testing a new Titanfall game mode called Survivor. In this game mode, pilots and titans would fight it out to be the last team remaining in a battle royale style. In the game mode, you would actually start off in the dropship while you picked who your teammates were. If 3 players entered the same drop pod, they would be put onto a team together, and you would also land as a team through these drop pods. Now, the first prototype map for Apex was apparently called the Real Big Map. Now, this wasn't identical to Kings Canyon, it was just a prototype map that they were testing on. Now, this map is much more open and spread out compared to Kings Canyon, but that's because developers wanted Titans to easily be able to roam around the map. In October of 2017, the earliest versions of Gibraltar, Wraith, and Bloodhound were added into the game. The developers then started testing these legends on a new map, which is the map that would become Kings Canyon. This is apparently the first recognizable version of Kings Canyon, and when it was created, there weren't any towns in place. There were basically just different zones that spread across the map. It was around this time that Respawn had also scrapped wall running and Titans, which is a feature that I know many Titanfall players were hoping would eventually come into Apex. Obviously, they spent a lot of time figuring out why this wouldn't work into the game. And then finally, we got to see this cool GIF of how Kings Canyon evolved from just a barren wasteland into the map that we all got to experience 2 years ago. This was a really cool behind the scenes look of Apex Legends. I'm hoping that developers continue to do this because I really think it's just a cool, unique experience. Not a lot of other game companies actually go out and post these kind of videos and all of this behind the scenes stuff that you would normally never see. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is actually going over the Season 8 AMA that happened on Reddit just yesterday. The first big thing that I want to talk about that was covered in this AMA is server issues. As we all know, Apex has had some horrible server problems, especially if you do not live in the United States. I know people in like India, Japan are playing on some crazy high ping, so there really is a need for Respawn developers to actually fix these servers so everyone can have an equal chance at playing. One Reddit user commented asking a question saying, "Are there any major plans on big upgrades to the server side of things? Thank you in advance and keep on making this awesome game." One developer responded saying, "It's a pretty tricky question, but the answer is yes, we want to fix whatever issues people are running into. Connectivity issues can come from a lot of different places. Sometimes we run into issues with servers and we try to address them as we see them. One thing that helps us out is when players let us know specifically which issues they're running into. So my request, keep us honest. Let us know in as great of detail as possible what you're running into, and we'll always do our best to solve it, especially if it seems like something widespread and not just on the user side of things." So this is definitely good news. Even though it wasn't really the most specific answer in the world, it's good to know that they are aware of some of these server issues, and they're definitely working on ways to make people have, better ping when they're playing in game. There was another question also asked regarding the Season 8 meta and why it wasn't drastically changed this season compared to some of the other ones we've had. One Respawn developer responded saying, certain bigger changes didn't make the cut in time. I think we can make up with some spiciness in the mid-season update and the start of Season 9. So I don't know if this means they're holding off the bigger updates until the end of the season, or maybe we might see some more, legend changes coming throughout the mid-season update. Now, like every AMA that happens every season, cross progression was asked once again. Chad Grenier, who's the game director for Apex Legends, basically said the same thing that we've been hearing for a while. In summary, he said it's harder to implement cross progression to a game that has been out for 2 years due to the fact that there are so many different accounts. He also said cross progression would be a great addition to the game, but is still a ways away. Now, honestly, I'm pretty surprised that Apex still does not have cross progression at this point in time. One Reddit user responded to Chad with a pretty good idea, saying just do what Destiny 2 did and let the player pick which profile they want across all platforms. So for example, let's say you're on PS4, you have like your main account with all of your heirlooms, all of your skins, but you also want to play on PC. You could basically make it so your PS4 account is your main account, which you can play on PC and Xbox. Now, this didn't receive a response or anything, but I think looking at how other games implemented cross progression is a good first step for Apex to catch up. Now, the next part of this video, I just want to go over some specific legend changes that developers talked about. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to be seeing this in Season 8, but it's definitely stuff that they're looking at, which means we might not actually see any of these until Season 9. But the first legend they talked about was for Loba. Now, Daniel Klein mentioned how they wanted to change Loba's teleportability that would make it feel better without adding too much power to Loba's kit. Daniel Klein said, we're currently playtesting a version that doesn't slow you down at all while the bracelet is in the air, and that doesn't slow you down when you arrive at your target location. He says it's a bit scary, but it's been testing well so far, so while there isn't an ETA, we hope to ship something for Loba's Tactical soonish. Daniel Klein also made a comment saying that they are going to try and fix the way that Fuse's active ability interacts with Rampart's walls. For those of you guys that don't know, Fuse's ability does some insane damage to Rampart walls and basically destroys them instantly, which I'm pretty sure is... It's not really a bug because I think walls were coded the same way as doors, and Fuse's ability does do a little bit more damage to doors, but this is going to be changed in the future so that Fuse doesn't just decimate Rampart players. Now, Revenant was talked about as well. Daniel Klein said that they're looking to give him a buff that doesn't add a huge amount of frustration to the game. He mentioned that Revenant's hitbox and passive could be changed to accomplish this. He also mentioned that they have seen the suggestions to give him infinite climb, however it is much more difficult to change than just tweaking a number. He did this by saying they need to spend more time looking at all of their options before they make any significant changes. Now, personally, I think giving Revenant an unlimited climb might be a little too game breaking because we know the maps weren't designed around a legend just being able to completely scale it whatsoever. If they just increase his climbing by like 1.5 or 2x, I think that would be the perfect buff for Revenant. Maybe some changes to his hitbox, but I don't think anything for his passive or ultimate really need to be changed in the future. Now, one Reddit user asked developers why Caustic wasn't nerfed in this patch despite a lot of people in the community asking for a nerf. One developer responded to this saying, Caustic is undeniably strong and has the highest win rate in matches that last longer than 20 minutes. Caustic plays a unique role as a defensive legend that can act offensively in certain scenarios, and we have to make sure we tweak him in a way that removes frustration without hurting how it feels to play as Caustic. So I don't know what exactly that means, but it looks like they're going to make some more changes to Caustic that are probably going to be more on the nerf side of things. It doesn't look like they're going to give him any more buffs. Now, Pathfinder is another legend who might be getting further changes in Apex. Daniel Klein said that Pathfinder was in a healthy state right now, but he could be better. He also said they're going to look into removing low profile in a future update. Now, for those of you guys who are new to the game, low profile is an attribute given to certain legends that makes them take 5% increased damage. Removing low profile would give Pathfinder much more survivability in fights and would definitely be a very good buff to his kit overall. Now, finally, we have some potential changes that might be coming to Lifeline in the future. This came from a Reddit user who said that Lifeline's ult right now is completely useless. Jay Beebs responded saying, you're not wrong, Lifeline's ult is often underwhelming to say the least. On the flip side, her passive is the root of a lot of player frustration. Seems like a prime candidate to receive some ability power shuffling. So I definitely agree with this. I think Lifeline's passive is very good. I hope they don't just like completely take it away, but maybe just changing some of the power from her passive and adding that to her ultimate. Some people were suggested, from Dummy's Big Day, having her care package like heal teammates teammates around her. I think that would be a good start because right now the care package is just completely ineffective. Now that's all of the big legend changes that we learned from this AMA. If we find out anything more for the mid-season update or maybe for season 9, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated in a future video. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of these potential changes that might be coming. But yeah, I will see you guys all next time. Have a great day. Peace out.